I'm Jesse Guglielmana, and we are at Gaylord Sportswear, my screen printing business in Costa Mesa, California. My grandma and her sister started this business, the screen printing business, in 1981, I believe. And I worked here. It was kind of like my first job, just cleaning screens and stuff. And my mom worked here and her sister. So everyone on my mom's side kind of worked here throughout the years. They were big in the sailing community around here. Customers needed stuff for their yacht clubs and things like that. But when I took it over, I kind of slowly phased those customers out, and they were kind of hard to work with. And I kind of just started bringing in my own clientele through surfing and just through my people I know. I don't know, this stuff's so out of date. It's pretty funny. It's I went to the print shop, the supply shop the other day, and trying to get a new palette to print on, the printing palette. I showed them my setup, and they're basically said that's an antique. It's pretty funny. I mean, this area I feel it's common because of the surf and skate industry is so printable based, and it's all just here. That's a good question though. Maybe maybe the materials are slightly more accessible around here. But I do know that say in places like Detroit and stuff, there is some a lot of small printing shops. I was watching some documentary about this kid from Detroit that has his own print shop, and it's super cheap to do it out there. I can't remember his name. It was a while ago that I watched it, but it was pretty cool. Just anything that's with my friends. I just did some band t-shirts for my friend CP's band, which came out really cool. And I did some cool ones with Nick Melanson. Just anything that's smaller and with close friends. Less repetitive and logo, corporate kind of stuff. Yeah, I didn't get along too well with the yacht clientele. A little bit here and there. It's definitely hard for me to get it done, shape very often, just because this is my income, and I'm pretty busy with. I'm the only one in the shop now, so it's kind of takes up a lot of my time. But I do shape boards for friends, and I shape all my boards. This is a shaping room right here too. Oh, really? Yeah. But yeah, mostly just my personal boards, and then if a shop wants some or a friend wants one, then I'm glad to do that. But it's definitely not my main passion per se. Because when I do get a chance to do something other than this, I tend to lean towards painting and stuff like that. This is definitely more work. It's so, there's not as much freedom in it, and it's just like do it like so constantly for work that it's, I mean, I do use like screen printing in some paintings, and like I'll use like for instance, like this is actually like a screen. This is like on the silk, and like I'll upcycle like a lot of the materials. But as far as like a creative outlet, it's nice. It's more, I'm more focused, like more drawn to the freedom of just like painting. I worked as a like cut and sew designer for like 3 years at, and it was cool and it was fun to like learn everything, but it was just like after a while sitting at a desk all day is just, no matter how creative the job is, it's becomes pretty mundane. Whereas at least this is like I'm moving around and I can bounce back and forth through painting and like throughout the day and make my own hours. And I definitely value like being on my own schedule and not having to like, as long as the job gets done, it doesn't matter when it gets done. Which also, it takes some discipline to pull that off too. But I mean, I end up working like all day anyways, but at least I'm not on someone else's, like I don't have to answer to someone else as far as that goes. Sometimes I wish I did when it gets stressful. One day, probably, let's see. Hold on, let me do the math. I can tell you. Probably like 600. That was like crazy, like rush job. Like the actual job was like 4,000 units needed to be done like in like a week or so. So it's like definitely some long out. Like you can make your own hours, but sometimes the hours make you for sure. It's pretty intimidating when you're like, a freight box shows up and they just unload like a ridiculous amount of boxes. I'm doing more small stuff now, small business. I couldn't handle that much for just me running the shop. It's been, I think in March it'll be 2 years. Yeah, in March it should be 2 years. Yeah, we went to Mex and then we went to Nicaragua, which was pretty fun. And then for the Eat My Fin movie, we took the van down to, or up to San Francisco and like Santa Cruz area and did some skating and some surfing. Just, it was fun. It was kind of just like traveling with Mitch is always really fun. We had a good crew, so we met up with some awesome people that you'll see in the movie.